If he vanished without explanation, without closure, and now he's texting, "Hey stranger," like nothing happened, it's not an accident? What if I told you he's not coming back for you, but for the version of you that tolerated being ignored? There's a psychological pattern behind why men disappear, why they suddenly reappeared just when you started healing. And if you don't see it for what it really is, you could end up back in the exact cycle you finally broke free from. In this video, I'm going to give you the truth most people won't dare say out loud. Stay with me. Your peace depends on it. When a man walks away and you go quiet, something shifts. Not just in him, but in you. No contest isn't just about playing hard to get. No, it's a mirror. It reflects who you are without the noise, without the drama, without the needing. You see, silence, it screams growth. It says, "I can do this without you." And when you say that with your energy, even without a word, people notice, especially the ones who thought you'd always be available. Here's a truth most won't tell you. When you pull away, when you stop chasing, when you choose peace over proving, you stop being their option and start becoming their regret. And regret is powerful. It's haunting. It whispers to them at night when the noise dies down and the distractions fade. Now, I'm not saying go silent to manipulate. I'm saying go silent to evolve. Because silence is the loudest upgrade you can make in a world obsessed with noise. And then they feel that shift. Not right away, but it creeps up on them, like the absence of a favorite song. They start to wonder, what happened? Why is she not trying anymore? Did I just lose something valuable without even realizing it? That's the untold truth. No contact doesn't just create pace, it creates value. Just stop being accessible and start becoming exceptional. You stop being familiar and start becoming unforgettable. And that messes with them badly. But let's break it down even deeper. There's a science to this, a psychological twist most folks don't talk about. It's called loss aversion. We feel the pain of loss twice as strongly as the joy of a gain. So when a man senses that he may have lost you for good, even if he didn't value you before, that pain hits different. It hits hard. And that's when he comes back, confused, curious, hungry. But here's the kicker, not all comebacks are for the right reasons. Sometimes it's ego. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's the idea of you, not the real you. And that's why this video is so important. Because we're not just talking about why they come back, we're talking about why you don't have to let them in again. Unless they've done the work. Unless they're not just back, but better. In the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what happens in a man's mind during no contact. How it rewires his perception of you. How it flips the power dynamic without gains, just growth. Stay with me because this is where everything shifts. All right, let's get into the real mechanics behind this. Because when you cut contact, it doesn't just trigger a reaction, it lights up an entire psychological battlefield inside his head. You're not just gone, you become an unsolved mystery. And let me tell you something about human nature. We hate unanswered questions. The male brain is wired for patterns. When you're consistent, always texting back, always reaching out, always being the one who keeps the connection alive, he starts to expect that rhythm. It becomes part of his emotional routine. But when you cut the rhythm, when you remove yourself from his daily playlist, he starts glitching. It's like his favorite app just vanished. And no, it's not always love at first. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's pride. But eventually, it becomes need. And here's where it gets deeper. When you implement no contact, he's not just noticing your silence. He starts to question why you're okay without him. This thought alone is devastating to someone whose confidence was secretly built on your attention. Now let's talk biology. We're gonna dig into dopamine. When someone gives you consistent attention, even little things like good morning texts, your brain gets used to those dopamine hits. When that stops suddenly, it creates a withdrawal effect, just like any addictive cycle. So when you go silent, you unknowingly create a vacuum where his validation used to live. And the longer that silence stretches, the more he starts chasing those old highs. He starts rereading messages, looking at your stories, asking mutual friends if you're okay. He might even start posting things he knows you'll see, things he never posted before. You're not just in his mind, you become the standard by which he compares every new interaction. And trust me, comparison is a killer, especially if you're growing while he's still stuck. Now let's talk about you, because here's the thing. No contact is not a strategy to win him back. It's a mirror that shows you what was really going on. You realize how much energy you were pouring into something that was barely dripping in return. And more importantly, you start investing in yourself. Your peace, your joy, your glow up. This is where personal growth kicks in. You rediscover what it feels like to not walk on emotional eggshells, to not check your phone waiting for a reply that never comes, to not beg for the bare minimum. You shift from seeking love to becoming love, and that is magnetic, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that radiates confidence. People sense when someone's not desperate. They feel the energy of a person who is whole. Now imagine he comes back, and the woman he thought he left behind isn't even there anymore. She's evolved. She's upgraded. She's peaceful. Not angry, not bitter, just unavailable, at least to his old energy. And this hits him harder than any text you could have sent, because now he knows she didn't pause her life waiting for me. She pressed play and kept going. Let's be clear, the men who return are always the ones you need. Some come back out of nostalgia, others out of loneliness, a few out of genuine growth. But you're the gatekeeper now. You decide, not from a place of revenge, but from a place of value. See, most people don't talk about this. No contact is not about silence. It's about self-respect. It's not about winning. It's about waking up. You're not ignoring him. You're choosing you. You're not blocking love. You're blocking patterns that never served you. That, my friend, is power. And here's something I wish someone told me earlier. The real transformation doesn't happen when he reaches out. It happens when you realize you don't need him to. In a few moments, I'm going to show you how to identify the real reason behind his return. Is it love? Is it ego? Or is it just a fear of losing access to someone amazing? That next part is going to open your eyes wide. So keep watching, because the truth gets even clearer from here. So now you know silence creates space. But the real question is, what's filling that space? What is he thinking? What's going on in his mind after a few days, a few weeks, a month of no contact? Let me break this down for you like we're sitting across from each other having a real talk. Because this ain't theory, this is human behavior. Predictable, emotional, and surprisingly, a lot messier than you'd think. First, in the early stage of no contact, he feels relief. Let's be honest. Most men, especially immature ones, walk away expecting you to fold first. They assume you'll come running back, blowing up their phone, asking, pleading, chasing. So when you don't, they tell themselves, she's just playing games. She's waiting for me to break first. But then week 2 hits, and the silence stretches longer. And that false confidence, it starts to crack. Suddenly, that prideful walk away starts to feel like a mistake. Not because he's had some deep revelation about how much he loves you, no, not yet. It starts because he misses the attention. He misses the validation. He misses the way you made him feel even if he never acknowledged it. That's when curiosity turns into anxiety. And let me tell you, curiosity is dangerous when paired with ego, because he doesn't just want to know how you're doing, he wants to know why you're doing so well without him. This leads to the second phase, investigation. He'll start checking your socials, watching your stories but not liking your posts, asking mutual friends how you've been. He might even send a random message like, "Hey, just thought of you," or "Did you ever finish watching that show?" That's not random. That's bait. He's testing the waters, trying to figure out if you're still emotionally available without fully committing. Let me pause right here, because this is where most people break no contact. You see that message, your heart skips, you feel that rush, and boom, you reply. But here's the thing, that message wasn't an apology. It wasn't an "I've grown" message. It was a "Do I still have access to you" message. There's a big difference. And this is where your personal growth becomes your compass. Because if you're healing, if you're grounded, if you've been building your peace brick, a brick you won't mistake that text for a grand romantic gesture. You'll see it for what it is, a reflection of his fear, not your worth. Now here's something else that happens around this stage. He starts comparing, and not just to the new people he's dating, but to the version of you that now lies in his memory, the you that was generous, the you that was always present, the you that made love look easy, and the you he thought would always be there. Now that you're gone, your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Because human nature doesn't value what's always there, it values what it thinks it can lose. This is where it gets intense, because the man who comes back just because he misses you is not the same as the man who comes back because he's grown. Let me say that again. Missing you is not the same as deserving you. So let's talk about discernment, because this is your power now. You've done the work. You've sat in silence. You've healed the parts of you that once begged for closure. Now you've got to ask the question, what is he really coming back for? Is it because he sees your worth now? Is it because he's willing to show up consistently, honestly, naturally? Or is it just that his ego can't handle the idea that he's been replaced? Let me give you a real-world example. I won't name names, but I know someone who went through something similar. She was with a guy for 3 years, loved him deeply, gave him everything. He took her for granted and left when she needed him most. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just walked away. No contact. Cold. Total silence. 2 months later, he came back crying. And not because he had changed, but because she had. She wasn't bitter. She wasn't angry. She had evolved. She was glowing. He saw her walking in peace, and it terrified him. He realized he'd been replaced not just by someone else, but by a version of her who no longer needed him. And that's what no contact really does. It doesn't make him chase, it makes him reflect. It doesn't hurt him, it exposes him. It brings the truth to the surface. So if he comes back, let your discernment speak louder than your loneliness, because he might be returning to a door that doesn't even exist anymore. You've got the keys now. In the next part, we're going to break down exactly how to respond if he returns, how to read between the lines of his words, how to test the sincerity without playing games. Because the power isn't in getting him back. It's in choosing whether he still fits in your future. Let's keep going, because the untold truth, it's just starting to reveal itself. Now let's talk about the moment he finally reaches out, the phone vibrates, and it's him. The text you imagined, maybe even hoped for at one point, finally arrives. And yet it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like a test, because it is. This part is crucial, because how you respond now doesn't just define the next conversation, it sets the tone for your entire future dynamic. You see, when a man comes back after no contact, he's not just returning to you, he's returning to the version of himself that walked away. He's returning to the mirror he avoided. And here's where you decide, am I going to meet him where we left off or where I have grown to? Let's decode the different types of messages you might get. Type 1, the casual breadcrumb. Hey stranger, just checking in. Hope you're good. Sounds harmless, right? But make no mistake, this isn't about reconnection. It's about testing your availability. It's like he's knocking on the door without wanting to come in. Type 2, the guilt bait. I miss us. I've been thinking about everything. I can't believe how we ended. This one tugs at your heart. But often, it's not built on change, it's built on discomfort. Discomfort with solitude. Discomfort with silence. Discomfort with realizing he's not the center of your world anymore. And then there's type 3, the authentic green tree. You know, I messed up. I've been working on myself. I don't expect you to trust me right away, but I'd like a chance to show you who I am now. These messages, they're rare, but they exist. And they come with specificity, not vagueness. They come with action, not just words. Now, how should you respond? That depends entirely on what you've learned during your silence. Because this isn't about playing hard to get, it's about protecting your peace. You've done something sacred. You've reclaimed your emotional space. You stopped the cycle of overgiving. You sat with the discomfort of no contact and used it as fuel for your personal growth. So your response, if you even choose to respond, has to reflect that evolution. Here's how. Don't react emotionally. Whether it's flattery, regret, or guilt-tripping, read it like a stranger sent it. Let your clarity live, not your craving for closure. Set the tone. If you respond, mirror the maturity you expect. If he's vague, ask for clarity. If he's dramatic, stay grounded. If he's manipulative, go silent again. Ask yourself, what is he offering? Not what he's saying, but what is he actually offering you now? Consistency, respect, growth? Or is it just the illusion of love without the investment? Let me tell you something straight. Anyone can miss you. Missing someone is passive. It doesn't take effort. What matters is who's willing to show up differently. And let's be honest, some men only come back because your peace scares them. Your strength is uncomfortable. Your glow-up highlights their lack of growth. You became everything they were afraid of: independent, unattached, unbothered. So don't let a sudden and "I miss you" pull you back into a situation that once drained you. Let your memory be stronger than your feelings. Because here's the twist, a lot of people romanticize the past when the present feels uncertain. He might not be coming back for love, he might be coming back for comfort. You represented safety. You were the emotional cushion he never realized he relied on. But your silence made him confront that. And now he either steps up or he tries to reclaim the old dynamic. The version of you that's available, self-sacrificing, and patient with his confusion. But that version, she's not here anymore. You've changed. And if he hasn't, if he's just revisiting, not rebuilding, then let that message stay unanswered. And not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Let me give you a quick story. A woman I knew broke up with her partner after years of emotional immaturity on his end. He walked out sure she'd come crawling back. She didn't. She got therapy, travel, learned to love her own company. 8 months later, he came back, flowers in hand. But she realized the flowers weren't blooming for her anymore. She didn't need his apology. She needed her peace. So she smiled, thanked him, and said goodbye. Powerful, right? That's what growth looks like. It's quiet, but it's fierce. So if he comes back, ask yourself, is he returning to build or to borrow your light? Because your time, energy, and heart, those are not things to loan. They're investments, and not everyone qualifies. In the final part, I'm going to give you something practical and powerful: how to hold your boundaries while still leading with grace. How to protect your healing without closing your heart. And how to know if this return is a full circle moment or just another detour. We're not done yet. And not by a long shot. This next one, it's where all the puzzle pieces come together. There's something you need to understand that most people never say out loud. When he comes back after no contact, it's rarely because he has some sudden epiphany under a full moon. It's because your silence made noise. See, silence is powerful. It's not just the absence of contact, it's the presence of boundaries. And boundaries, my friend, force people to confront their own behavior without your emotional labor buffering their ego. Most men don't expect you to actually move on. They expect a pause, a breather. But when they realize you didn't wait, when they see you're no longer orbiting around their indecision, that's when the reappearance happens. But the real test is not whether he comes back. It's what he does with his second chance. Because anyone can knock on the door again. Only a man who's grown will walk in and not try to rearrange your furniture. And now, here's something essential. Do not confuse attention with intention. Him reaching out doesn't mean he's ready to rebuild. Sometimes it's boredom. Sometimes it's guilt dressed as romance. So how do you respond from a place of power, not pain? You do a self-check. Ask, am I tempted or truly open? Am I hearing him or remembering how he used to make me feel? Do I feel safe around his presence or just familiar? Because growth doesn't mean you never feel tempted again. It means you recognize temptation for what it is, a shortcut that almost always leads back to the same dead end. Look, if he comes back and you're thinking of giving him space in your life again, here's the checklist. 1. Has he taken ownership of his past behavior without blame or excuses? 2. Is he actively doing something different, not just saying it? 3. Does your peace feel protected when he speaks, or does your anxiety spike? And here's a truth bomb. Sometimes you're not his person, you're his lesson. And the most loving thing you can do is not rescue him from the consequences of losing you. Let me give you something personal. There was someone who meant a lot to me. Years went by, no closure, no apology. Then one day, he came back. But you know what? By the time he arrived, I had grown so much that I didn't want to go back even if it looked better now. Because I had finally fallen in love with my peace. And nothing he offered could outmatch what I had built alone. You don't need to be angry to say no. You just need to be aware. You don't need to block him to prove you're strong. You just need to not abandon yourself in order to feel chosen. And if you're watching this right now thinking, I wish I had heard this before I texted him back, it's okay. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction and the fact that you're still here, still learning, still reclaiming your energy that makes you powerful. Before I give you the final word, let me tell you there's a next step in this journey. If you're focused on personal growth, on stepping into your radiance, there's a reason you look younger than your age. It's not just your skincare, it's your spirit. So when you finish this video, I want you to check out 7 hidden reasons why you look younger than your age. It's a game changer for how you understand healing, self-love, and your own emotional energy. Watch it next. You deserve that kind of clarity. Now, if this message hit home for you, don't keep it to yourself. There's someone out there stuck in confusion who needs this. We're Wisdom Recorder, your knowledge source. Subscribe and like for more soul deep truths. We've got so much more coming. And remember, silence is not weakness. It's strength spoken fluently,